Hi, this is Shakira.
And this is Lia,
We're cooking up a great conversation.
starting with a cup of insights,
Add a tablespoon of fun.
a slice of drama,
Drama. A pinch of salt.
para may konting alat, and lots of pepe.
Siyempre, may anghang.
Welcome to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Hi, welcome back to Salt and Pepe Podcast. This is Shakira Season.
Hello everyone, this is Lia. Welcome back to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
We are now on episode 18. I feel like time is just flying. So very excited to be making this. So this the sixth episode of the second season, right? So we're halfway through already, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, ang bilis,
Wow.
ang bilis talaga. You know,
Super,
I
and
think.
I think I'm really enjoying it. So hindi ko rin siya napapansin na, we're just doing this every week.
It's
sending
just
it out.
I think it's become just a routine for us and parang just a regular. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like it's just like a regular routine now. And I think from the each recording to creating trailers and whatever, and I think it's a constant, and that was our intention, like from the very beginning, right? Because we really wanted to get tired of each other.
Yes. And share our thoughts kasi nga madaldal naman tayo. But it's nice that we get to see each other and we still have the viewers who are there.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's so nice to hear from you and your thoughts again from the last episode. So happy na may na-encourage to think about their health. So happy for you. So excited for your marathon. Go for it. Looking forward to your kwento. Let us know what happens afterwards. And thank you for...
Meron akong feedback na nakuha about the sex episode. Medyo siya, PG feedback. Pero sabi niya, yung sex episode, sobra naman daw nakakawet.
Wow. Wow, may naalala rin siya. Dapat i-share niya.
Naalala siya, right? Kasi parang, we were excited to create that episode and to tell our stories. Pero parang hindi naman umabot sa level na nakakawet. So I'm very impressed that hindi naman masyadong graphic actually, yung pinag-usapan natin na we affected a listener in that way. So I guess it was very stimulating.
Yes. Saka siguro nag-bring back na ng memories niya, no? It's so, di ba, the youth and art, ay nako, so many stories. Really fun.
Right? So, moving forward with this episode, November is self-promotion month. And that's why we have a very important topic for this episode.
Yes. So for this episode, Buhatin ang sariling bangko. Self-promotion as a key to success.
Haba ng title, but...
Yes, but it's just, sometimes we really don't think about it. But, if you have a career and you're looking to grow your career, diba, and move somewhere to move ahead, move forward, move up, or change careers talaga, it's something you really, really need to think about. You may not think about it, but it's something that you should actually, take note of and be ready about it and have something to show, diba? So that's why that's our topic for today.
And not only sa career, I think it's just a general mindset also, even in our personal life, to be more confident and secure about our qualities. I think culturally, as Asians and Filipinos, we're shy. We're afraid to showcase our value and skills. Tapos parang di talaga tayo sanay na to talk about ourselves and our good traits and qualities. Parang nayayabangan tayo when someone actually is confident enough to talk about those things. So parang it made me curious, cultural lang ba talaga siya? Or is there another thing about, is there another reason why specifically for Filipinos, parang napaka-taboo kasi nung self-promotion in terms of just being confident about how good you are at something. So parang I looked actually deeper kasi sabi ko, may kaya siyang relationship sa pagiging colonized natin. Because,
Yes.
usually when we think about colonial mentality, iniisip lang natin na, oh, it's about race, it's about complexion, or just thinking that our colonizers or other countries are better than us.
Mhm.
Pero kasi I read that, not only that, I think we've all developed a sense of insecurity and parang a certain kind of deference to leaders and superiors. So makikita mo yan actually in all aspects, especially lower social classes, na parang internalized na yung, ay ganito lang ako, susunod ako, or wala ako masyadong pinag-aralan, wala ako masyadong, hindi naman ako magaling, hindi naman ako ganyan. And it's so unusual actually to find someone or meet someone that's sobrang proud. Tapos kung meron mang ganun, parang kaagad na yayabangan tayo, right? So, actually, it's a well-known fact and effect of being colonized, um, for colonial mentality to affect our self-esteem and to develop an inferiority complex. And that's not something that I realized na kasama pala yan. Even na we have been independent country for so long, but culturally ingrained na siya. And you can't say na, oh, matagal nang wala yung colonizers natin, because until now, we still act this way. We still believe that other countries are better, or
Oh, yes.
foreigners are better, or dapat yung anak mo parang blonde hair and blue eyes. It's still like that. Parati tayong nagsasabi pa rin tayo na parang, oy, wag ka magpaitim, ganyan-ganyan. It's really deeply ingrained. And also, it also affects our confidence level. So I
Yeah.
thought that it's nice to discuss this in our episode for the benefit not just of our professional lives, but also our personal lives.
Yeah, if I think about it talaga 'no, I mean, kasi nga 'di ba Indio nga tayo, so sad 'di ba?
Right?
So that's who we are talaga. And I think also, not naman siguro because of Catholic, but every time something good happens to us, we thank God. I mean, we had that topic also in
Mm-hmm.
our class before about when we win the gold medal, whatever we win. Of course, we thank God because we're so, diba, it's a blessing to us. But we don't usually think about our hard work.
Mm-hmm.
'Diba? Ikaw naman talaga nag-work hard nun eh, 'di ba? Yes, the Lord is there, but you did all the work. But we say kaagad, salamat sa Diyos, or, So I
Oh,
think,
that's good point. That's something I didn't think about, and it's very important because the Catholic influence is really very strong. And what's the number one, parang admirable quality that's instilled in us by religion is humility, 'di ba? Parang,
yeah,
oh, just don't take credit. Actually,
yes.
parang just be humble, and things will happen to you. Parang just let go and let God parate. And if something good happens, parang, yes, thank you. I couldn't have done this, at all. Pero you take a little credit naman.
Yes, at least you worked hard for that, no? I mean, everything you do, you won't naman accomplish that, 'di ba? That's why.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess also para kasing, the downside of that is if you don't also take credit for things, you also aren't taking accountability for other things, 'di ba? Kasi parang ginagawa mong ibang tao yung responsible sa buhay mo at saka yung mga pangyayari sa buhay mo, na parang,
Exactly.
as parang, ay, hindi ganun talaga yun. Kahit something terrible happens, oh, hindi, kasi that's the will of God kaagad.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I could have done this differently. So that's a very good point. Thank you.
Yeah. Interesting, no? Kasi I always remember that in one of our lessons in school noon time na yun. Philosophy ba nun? Or psychology and
Mm-hmm,
sports?
mm-hmm.
Anyway, tsaka yun nga, yung being thankful na pag sinabi, uy, ang galing mo ha, ganyan-ganyan. Yung parang, di
Hindi
naman,
nga.
ano lang yan, di ba?
Uy, parang
Yung
wag nga.
ng thank you na
Di ba?
parang acknowledge that you actually did that.
Nagagalit pa, right?
Oo.
Kaya ang dami kong na-meet actually ganyan na when I was in school, yung pag kinompliment mo, yung parang, uy, ang galing mo naman sa test. Or kahit na yung simple lang na parang, uy, ang ganda ng outfit mo today. Parang, ano ba? Wag nga. Yung talagang magtatakip pa ng mukha. Parang, don't look at me. Don't acknowledge whatever I've done or how I look or my good qualities. It embarrasses people.
Yun. I don't know why. But yun nga, at least say thank you. That's it. That's all
Yeah,
you can just say,
that's
di ba?
kaya para ako actually, I really admire people na hindi sila nagfi-flinch. Pagka sinabihan mo na parang, oh, you know what, you're really good at this. And like, yeah, I know, or whatever.
Yes, di
Parang,
ba?
yeah, thank
Correct.
you
I
so
love it.
much. Like, yeah, right? Parang, oh, shit. And I've
Yeah.
tried to, parang in myself, also be that way, especially on qualities na I've worked hard to develop. Right? Like, for example, I have social anxiety. So, parang I'm always working hard na, to relate to people better. And so, if somebody says to me, oh, you did a great job, interacting at that party, you were, you actually had good conversations. And I'll be like, oh, thank you. Because I've also been working so hard on that. So, give credit to yourself. 'Di ba? And acknowledge that, oh, you're developing this thing instead of like pushing it away. Don't look at me, ganyan, 'di ba?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
self-promotion really is important and it's not wrong. Yun din naman yun.
right.
Right?
But
It's you eh. You work hard. If you know yourself, what you did, and have that confidence. Ikaw naman, Kia, what do you mean when we say naman self-promotion?
when I was thinking about this topic, niisip ko kung ano ba yung hindrance kung bakit hindi tayo parang we're just really hesitant to be proud
Yes.
of ourselves. Aside from the fact that we're gonna be accused of being arrogant, right?
Yes.
Or bragging. Kasi ang laking stigma nun yung mayabang. Or parang, oh, ang proud mo. Parang bakit kaya no? And parang sa Pinoy, right? Parang proud mo naman ganyan. Parang bakit? I should be proud, right?
Yes.
So parang I think with self promotion, it's not bragging or being boastful or being arrogant or conceited. I feel like when you say self promotion, it's more like showcasing your value and parang creating a visibility or creating opportunities for yourself na parang ma-recognize ka naman. It's not na misplaced. Hindi, you're not making something up. Di ba? Hindi ka naman nang
Yes.
bobola, right? There is something of value that you can offer, right? So that's why in this episode we want to equip our listeners with some strategies for self-promotion. But I wanted to actually, alam mo naman when I'm doing like research or thinking about topics, I like to read and parang when I have an idea, parang, okay, bakit nga ba? Because parang we place so much emphasis on being humble as if it's like a positive trait. Na parang, oh, yung humble niya, parang ibig sabihin, ang bait mo, you're pure, you really, uh, you really,
You're righteous.
you're righteous and you're not calling attention to yourself or
Yes.
overpowering or overtaking a crowd or parang grandstanding. Humility is such a favorable trait that people think that it's a great thing. But if you actually look at the definition of humble or like humbling yourself, you think that it's the opposite of proud. But actually, the definition of humble means to lower yourself, lower your status in life. And is that really what you want to do? Like, don't you just want to be where you are? Like, why do you have to, like, put yourself down na lower and lower na hindi, ganito lang ako, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Maybe modesty is the word that's better. Like, being modest, meaning na parang you're not throwing it out there masyado na, masyadong ano. Basta like, I think humble is not even such a positive thing anymore. Which
Mm.
reminds me of recently during the recent American campaign trail,
Mm.
of which we got very sad results. But there was a moment when I think Vice President Kamala Harris was asked, uh, the I think someone said to her, how can you stay grounded when you don't have children? Because my children humble me. So yun yung question sa kanya. And she answered, it may come as a surprise to you, but most of the women I know do not seek to be humble. And I thought that was so empowering because we
Wow.
place so much emphasis, especially on women, na humble yourself, make yourself small, make your husband shine, make other people shine. Like, serve everybody,
Yes.
just take care of the family and sacrifice yourself parate parate. So it was so nice to hear from her na parang, you know what, we should, it's fine if you don't want to be humble, if you want to be proud, if you want to know your value and you want to present that to the world. It is something admirable, and humility is not always something that we should aspire to, right? So uh for me, self promotion is all about that. Just recognizing what we have to offer and not being afraid of offering that to the world and to the people around us, not just
Yes.
professionally, but even in our friendships and personal lives. So I want to know if there was a moment in your life that self promotion helped you.
Yes. To add to that, too, no, if there's something that you have and you want to share, I think that's what makes you happy, eh,
Mm-hmm.
'di ba? So that's why I don't think that you'll be humble. Na parang you're not proud na because masabi lang because you have that, 'di ba? You wanna boast things or
Mm-hmm.
show or
Mm-hmm.
self-promote your have a self, to self-promote because you have it within you.
Mm-hmm.
Yun nga yung yabang kapag wala naman, 'di ba? Salita ka ng salita, we know naman who that is right now, salita ng salita. Pero talagang walang walang essence, walang something, 'di ba? So if you feel that you want to self-promote, 'di ba? And you're just pulling it back, you shouldn't because nga you should be proud of your skills, proud
Mm-hmm.
of what you have, 'di ba? So so I don't think it's a bad thing. So with your question, so one time then kasi in the Philippines naman, yung course ko, di ba, it's strength and conditioning, it's about sports. So it's not something that is really known or something big,
Mm-hmm.
di ba? Alam lang nila, head coach, tapos yun na yun. There's a whole
Mm-hmm.
team, di ba, within an athlete or in a
Mm-hmm.
team. So yun yung role ng strength and conditioning coach or yun na. So we wanted to pull up a softball summer camp for girls.
Mm-hmm.
And kasi nga, ang galing ng strength ng team namin. So we needed to make sure we knew it was still a business. It's not just only promoting. So one of our, yun nga yung, isang teammate ko sabi niya, we have to make sure that the association, the Philippine Association knows this, whatever, whatever. So sige, I'll talk. Just to, affiliate na, oh, kilala to. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that you can trust, diba? So when I got there, I had to tell who I was introducing nobody knows us at all, 'di ba? And we're going to the Philippine Softball Association to say recognize us, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to really really not really sell myself who I was, what I do, what I know, which actually they said okay because I think nobody has that naman in the
Mm-hmm.
Philippines too. And it's something
Mm-hmm.
that will help promote the sport. And
Mhm.
at the end, they asked me, "Oh, since you're doing that, do you want to be part of the national team?" I'm like, "Huh? Ganun lang ba yun?" Alam mo yun? I didn't even, and of course, you things happen that you just grab the opportunity, although you're just nervous na parang, can I? Di ba? After that, you'll
Mhm.
see, oh my gosh, imposter syndrome na agad. Kaya ko ba handle ang
Mhm.
national team? I just came here because I just wanted to ask to
Mhm.
to recognize our small softball camp. But that's it. So it was very important that because naman I studied for it, I know what I'm and I want that. I love softball. So yun, that was a nice story na sinelf-promote ko talaga sarili ko because I just wanted our team's agenda or project na ma-fulfill. Because of that, nakuha ko pa isa pang trabaho na gustong-gusto ko
Mhm.
talaga. So I
Mhm.
think that was a nice lesson na rin na parang, ay, okay lang pala. 'Di ba? Na maging mayabang ng konti and tell them exactly what you know. So
Mhm.
when it comes really to sports and softball, I know that's my strength. That also
Mhm.
happened in here then. So
Mhm.
I'm actually, aside from that, my part-time now is coaching. So I'm happy about that. So yun yung konting kwento. And well, in work also, because I'm a teacher, when they say, who wants to train or, the new
Mhm.
hires, ako talaga kaagad. Oh, I'm a teacher, blah, 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 blah. So I've learned that growing up. So ikaw, how about you? Do you have any stories to share regarding,
I
because you
always
promote
go
yourself?
back to this moment during my teenage years, I think, when I was starting college, because I already recognized that I had such an inferiority complex and I just thought so poorly of myself and parang I don't have talent and I'm not attractive kasi wala kulang ako sa praise. And then remember, I always tell this story of how I decided that I'm going to be my own cheerleader. And if I didn't find myself attractive, I was going to convince myself that I was going to be attractive, even just to myself. And, and also, um, I worked so hard in school, right? And I just thought that, you know what? I work so hard. I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm doing well. I'm not going to brag about it, but I'm going to be a resource for people and I'm going to answer the question, for example, in class if I know the answer. And if I have any knowledge to offer, I am going to share it too. So parang it's of course, we all have our doubts, our imposter syndrome nga, right? And our moments where we just feel inferior and just not confident. But I guess it's a constant effort to be kind to yourself also and recognize that people will see it. And I think when we were coming up with this topic, we mentioned, at our age about job interviews and how to present yourself in a confident and knowledgeable manner. That's something that I really worked hard to be decent, good at, and presenting myself in a, you know, in not an insecure way. So I feel like I interview well, and when I have I write I make resumes really well. So actually I have, like, people who are close to me, they know that I'm good at that. So they actually ask for my help. So anytime you need, I don't know if you know this, but
Ay,
people
yes,
always,
yes.
like, if they're looking for a job or something, or they just want to update their resume, they send me what they have, and then based on what they have, I ask questions about, what exactly did you do and whatever. And then gagawin ko siyang mas presentable na parang lalagyan ko ng metrics, lalagyan ko ng keywords kasi 'di ba ngayon ang
Wow.
job search puro AI na. So kailangan meron kang keywords and all that stuff. I'm self-promotion daw. Para naman may binibenta, but I'm really good at that because I I try to parang predict. what the hiring manager is looking
Oh.
for, and how to make, what is a seemingly simple task of your job that you don't think is very important, right? Because when we're stuck in a
Yes.
job right now, it's such a routine. You think na parang it's such a small thing what you do. Hindi mo nakikita yung value niya in the scheme of things and what's gonna happen if you're not there. So I have like a sense of that and how to make that pop out on a piece of paper, because we all know that hiring managers only take 30 seconds to look at your resume, and if nothing pops out at them, they're going to throw that out. So that, I think comes from also being able to articulate my own talents and skills in a casual conversation na hindi naman na parang you're bragging, but based on your knowledge, people know that you know something, right? And being approachable, also, they know that they can count on you for this kind of information, So, self promotion. Recent ways I promoted myself. Actually, not so recent. When I became really active on social media, when I was writing a lot more. I think just those casual conversations with people, they kind of like already can tell, what I would I have to offer as far as like even just a conversation or an interaction, and the knowledge that I may have, or at least not even the knowledge or wisdom, but just my ability to take like pieces of information or do some research and then parang package that and deliver that in a way
Wow.
that's easier to understand, like in casual conversation, like for example this podcast, right? So we have various topics, and then I'll do like some kind of research, and then parang then we'll
Yes,
bring
I
it
like
up
that.
in conversation. So stuff like that na parang simple lang, but if you're not used to it, it looks like such a big task na so unnatural. Parang, di ba, counterintuitive siya. But once you get
Yes.
used to it, parang it's just second nature. It's just a gradual conversation. I mean, like parang it's just like it's a casual conversation. So, but even with, that being said, people still really hesitate to stick their necks out to show that they have talent or skill. Like, why do you think that happens?
Siguro they belittle that skill. Siguro kasi they think, "Oh, everybody does that naman, 'di ba?" Like, everybody naman knows how to do Word
Mm-hmm.
or Excel, but they don't know
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, Excel is hard. I mean, they belittle what their skills, but because everybody does it, right? But I'm sure there's something there that ikaw mas okay yung ginagawa mo dun sa ibang marunong dun sa document or whatever in the computer, because I think it's common, 'di ba? But there's something that's above that, which ako rin sometimes hindi ko naisip na, ay, oo nga, no, ginagawa ko pala yun, no? I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
to teach or something, like to teach the new hires.
Uh,
I thought anybody can do that because we're all doing the same job. You're just going to tell them what to do, but there's really a way of doing it. You have to be organized, right? You have to step one, step two. You cannot teach step one and then you go, oh, and then you go to step five because you want to transfer knowledge to the new hires.
you have to be good at it too. Some people are not good communicators.
Yun nga, I didn't realize that until I had like a partner. I'm like, ha, ang gulo mo na gumawa na. Like, I
Kasi
had like a
teacher ka.
co
Teacher ka,
Yes,
right?
diba? Exactly. So sometimes because you think that like sharing knowledge because you have the same knowledge that to share, that it would be easy. But because you're trying for them to recall what you do at work, 'di ba? Yung mga steps,
Uh-huh.
whatever. There's a way pala. So I think sometimes they just take for granted what they know.
Mm-hmm.
Yun ang
Or,
feeling ko na some people think that way. Before I add pa, di ba you said like in college you were shy? Ay nako, I have a friend, no, from LB, sabi, you know, Kia, sobrang hot kaya yan sa LB.
What? Sino yun?
Oh, di
Sino?
ba?
Wait, sino yun? I-text mo
Kilala
sa
mo naman.
akin. Text mo
Mamaya
sa akin kasi parang wala naman akong kakilala yata na common friend natin or something na parang, you know,
Oo, sa
that's very,
chat.
tingnan mo, look, that's shocking to me, right?
Yes.
Kasi para, I just felt like I was working so hard na parang, oy, wag mo naman, parang, just be a little more confident. But
Wait,
still, we're blind to our own.
exactly.
Unless you're truly mayabang na conceited na parang you just like I have an overinflated ego. I think for the most part, we're blind to our own, skills, talents, appearance, or whatever. That's
Yeah,
why pag kunyari may maririnig mo may maririnig kang nagsabi na, "Oy, yung cute yun, ganyan ganyan." Tapos parang, "Oh shit, sino yun?" Parang I don't even like you're oblivious to it.
exactly, 'di ba? But you worked hard. I mean, you didn't have to. I mean, you were oozing with confidence. People won't say you're hot if you were not confident, 'di ba? So anyway,
One other thing I thought about
sige.
the reason that people hesitate is because they might know, for example, what is called for, pero natatakot sila na someone will dig deeper, tas hindi na nila alam yung sagot. And they don't want to look stupid, right? But
True.
so that's another thing that we need to develop is the being getting used to saying I don't know, but I'll find out for you, and it's okay. It doesn't mean
Yes,
you're stupid because nobody has an infinite like knowledge in their heads na nare-remember nila every single time like a computer. We are not search engines, right? But the
exactly.
ability not necessarily to retain but to process that information or to look for that information. It's okay to say I don't know but I can find out, or I don't know right now but I'm gonna learn it. But it shouldn't stop you from kind of like raising your hand to say, yeah, I think I can help. Let's see, whatever, right? Kasi natatakot tayo magmukhang tanga as if not knowing the answer already means that we're stupid. So, you know,
Yes.
right?
And to add to what you said, to ask, diba, ba't hindi napapakita? I think some people will just say, I'm showing it already, diba? Parang let my work
Let them
speak for
come,
itself, diba? Nakikita
right?
naman nila, dapat alam nila yon. But sometimes really, they don't know more. They can just see the surface, but
But
they
they
don't
don't
know
see, you
maybe
know.
how fast you work, or you see the good job pero mas detailed ka pa, ang dami mo pong before. Sometimes people, you just submit something pero it takes a lot to entail to do that project or to finish
Mhm,
that, 'di ba? There's so much into that. It's not just bring it on time, but
mhm,
your research, how you present it, how
mhm,
you fix
mhm.
it, 'di ba?
'Di ba
So,
kaya nga in the modern workplace actually, I find that yung mga younger people actually, they take time to tell other people, team members or their superiors, the steps they take to accomplish a task. 'Di ba? Para sabihin na, oh, I did this, I used my skill to do these steps. Instead of like, I think older generation or parang nahihiya ka, you just hand in the result and it looks so easy. Hindi
yes.
mo sinasabi like what effort you put in there and what skills of yourself like you used, right? So
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
True. So how will they know? Ba, if they don't, if you don't say it and ask them to show, how will they
Yeah.
know your skills?
I feel like it's not just a matter of if you build it, they will come. Especially in this modern world, right? Kasi dati kasi, wala tayong masyadong exposure sa different kinds of people from all over the world. Dati kasi parang it's just in your community or in just your circle. So you just get known based on kakilala. Ngayon kasi, you have access to everyone. So how are you going to shine? And if you're not going to talk about yourself. So I think primarily we need to change the mindset from I'm bothering people by telling them about myself to I am sharing something valuable. So again, because it's also very timely. And also, I have to admit that the candidacy of Vice President Kamala Harris has changed our lives and has an influence on all of us. I was paying a lot of attention to the campaign. And there was a time when she was talking to these young girls, schoolgirls, and they asked her, how do you become so confident
Yes,
in
I saw that.
public speaking, right?
Yes.
Tapos, ang sagot niya, um, do you know, do you remember the Titanic, right? A Titanic, she said, when you share something to people, don't think of it as self-promotion or bragging about yourself. You have to think of it as you are sharing something that they need to know. So pretend that you are in the Titanic and the ship is sinking and you have a solution, or you're telling them where the lifeboats are. So you're telling them something that will change or even save their life. So that is the mindset that we need to take in any kind of not just public speaking, but presenting ourselves. Because hindi ka naman magpre-present ng bagay na hindi nila kailangan. You know that they need that
Exactly.
information. You're just not just talking out of, unless ngayon nga talagang overinflated yung ego mo. You're not just gonna like out of nowhere, papasok ka sa isang room at sasabihin mo, matalino ako. Magaling akong ganito. No naman eh. Parang it's in casual conversations. Like, oh, you know what? That's something that I can do. Let me mention that because I may be able to help. And not just always parang monetary or parang job-wise yung motives natin. Just a simple sharing of your own knowledge makes people remember, oh, that one is good at that thing. I'm going to remember that. And in the future, if I do need something, career wise or services wise or whatever, business wise, you'll be remembered. Kaysa you're just sitting there, tas parang, hindi mo, wala, how do, they cannot find you. Sabi nga, a nice quote that I found actually is from Guy Kawasaki. He said, if you don't toot your own horn, don't be surprised when there's no music. Right?
Wow.
Kasi you have to make a little bit of noise. Sabi nga nila, di ba? Ano yun? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Right? Kasi,
Yes.
yeah, people will pay more attention to you. And it's unfortunate that the quiet ones, introverted ones, hindi masyado na recognize as valuable in a team. So I think in our own way, just in casual conversation or whenever we can kind of like show our work, I think we need to be more confident with that, and like in Tagalog, yung pagbubuhat nga ng sariling bangko, it was always seen as a negative.
Yes.
'Di ba? Kasi ako nasabihan na ako ng ganyan eh, kahit ex ko. Kahit ex ko, I think I had an ex na nasabihan ako ng ganyan. Kasi parang I just said something like, oh, you know what? I'm good at this thing. I don't even remember what, but I remember the reaction. Sabi niya, mabigat ba? Sabi ko,
Wow.
anong mabigat? Bigat ba yung sarili mong bangko?
Woo.
And then ako parang, I remember that because I never even used to use that, term, buhatin ng sariling bangko. Tapos nung nasabihin ako ganun, parang, dinibdib ko talaga na parang, oh shit, I guess I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Parang I wasn't even bragging. I was just mentioning like parang, oh, I can help in this way, whatever. Tapos yun na nga, mabigat ba? Buhat ka ng buhat ng sarili mong bangko eh. Tapos ako parang, oh, shit. Right?
Oh my
But
gosh.
if you read into that expression, buhatin ang sariling bangko, sarili mo ngang bangko yun eh. Sino pa bang magbubuhat? No one is
True.
going to carry it for you. I'm sorry, but maybe sometimes you meet a good manager or a good friend who will do the job of promoting you, but for the most part, we need to
No.
stick our necks out and go out of our own way, sometimes in an uncomfortable position. just to show others our worth, you know. So, uh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, bottom line is if you don't want to feel like you're bragging, keep the mindset that you are helping and you are offering solutions or something of value, right?
Yes, sobrang I think at this point everyone has their strength, everyone has their skill, 'di ba? We're
Mhm.
all different and you'll it's you're gonna help actually, eh, 'di
Yeah.
ba? Because nga that's why 'di ba when you're um I know in a meeting or a project or anything, you
Mhm.
always ask the strength and you know if you're in a group, 'di ba? Yun yung share mo yung strengths mo nga, 'di ba?
Mhm.
So with this, before I
Oh,
continue,
yeah.
tagal
Yeah,
ko
go
narinig
ahead.
si Guy Kawasaki. You should listen to Guy Kawasaki too. It's a good musician. Anyway, um, so one good tip to know yourself and you know your strength. Of course, you really have to break out the shyness talaga. Dapat, believe in yourself. Enjoy what you're doing and then because ako if you enjoy what you're doing I know the next step you will want to do better in that skill eh.
Mhm.
So if when
Mhm.
you do better in that skill it's best to share it,
Mhm.
diba? So
Mhm.
and it's nice to know sometimes you will find out ay gosh passion ko pala siya, alam mo yun, and then when you get to know it eventually no ba you want to think about it, that you might earn from it, diba?
Mhm.
Or something like that,
Yeah.
diba? But it's just you're here in this world, you discover what you know, you can share it, and you'll feel good about it, and then your
Mhm.
confidence will just overflow, um, and diba? And people will go to you for that, and you'll be able to help.
You know.
Again, don't belittle also. Like at work, yun na-realize ko kasi, diba, it's my first time sa office job.
Mhm.
So sometimes I really don't think about what I'm doing because I think it's just your work ethic then, 'di ba? Na
Mhm.
parang you just learn and then you just get everything. And then of course I follow Kia's advice, make sure that they can't live without you. So you do everything that you're supposed to do. And then when they ask you to do something new and don't hesitate, 'di
Mhm.
ba? Don't ask them for all the work to ikaw gagawa. But yun. So
You know.
you have to write it down talaga for me. Everything. And yan, don't belittle. And then, I'll take your advice, Kia. I'll show you my resume. Check mo kung okay siya o
Oh,
hindi.
yeah, anytime. I actually enjoy this. So, kung may mga listeners, syempre nag-advertise, don't bombard me naman. Like, if you actually know me personally or whatever, and you think that I would, you know, know you enough to be able to sell you in that way, like, reach out to me. I'd be
Wow.
glad to
That's
help
so
in that way
cool.
because I do enjoy it and I like to see the positive results. And I've actually had actually a number of people throughout their entire careers actually reach out to me to update their resume, and then it makes me like happy when I find out that something changed, na may nakakita sa kanila or naka-recognize sa kanila because of that resume. Yeah. But
That's so cool.
going back to what you said,
Yes.
right? Sometimes it's such a vague thing to like here, believe in yourself. Kasi parang believe in yourself. Parang bakit nga ba? It's such a
Yes.
it sounds so big. It sounds so vague and abstract. But how do you actually believe in yourself? I think it's getting to know yourself and your good qualities. Sometimes it's hard to really um think of
Embrace.
that, right? Na parang praise yourself or recognize. But in every kind of achievement that you have, even as you go through life or day to day life, you had some qualities that helped you achieve that. So identify those qualities and then you'll actually recognize a trend. And once you identify your traits, and you actually internalize na, oo nga pala, magaling pala ako sa ganun. Magaling pala akong kumausap ng tao. Magaling pala akong mag-take down ng notes. Magaling pala ako as a team member. Or magaling pala ako mag-manage. You internalize that and you want to be better and better. Right? Kasi parang you choose that trait to develop kasi parang sabi mo na, oh nga, I do have that, so I want to develop it more. And as I was reading about this actually, I found a strategy. I read about a strategy whenever we feel like we have not accomplished anything or we feel down and we feel like wala naman akong ma-offer to the world. And there's something that's called a reverse bucket list,
Mm.
which means like you think of the things that you wanted and wished for in your life and what you actually got. Like just in our even the simplest person, even the ones that wala namang like huge like di naman high position or climbing like a ladder, if you think about yourself nung bata kayo, teenage years, or like, college years, or early adult years, we had so many hopes and dreams, di ba? Parang inisip mo na parang sana financially independent ako. Pero ngayon financially independent ka na. How were you able to achieve that? That's not a small feat because some people don't even get to that point. Or sana makaipon ako, sana makatravel ako. Tapos nagawa mo siya, but we forget about it kasi ano eh, 'di ba parang nakakalimutan mo na because we always focus on the challenges of today. That's why pag nakakakita ako nung kunyari sa social media yung merong this time last year or this time 8 years ago, yung Facebook memories,
Yes.
whenever, basta wala kang kaaway na ex mo, basta ganun. When it's just memories or like vacation or the time that you saw your friends, it's always happy. Tapos parang isip mo na parang, oo nga no, I was so happy then. And during that time, I mean, before that time, I only wished na makapunta ako sa place na to. Tapos nakapunta ako. Right? And how
Yes.
did I get there? Because I saved. How did I save? Because I did well in my job. How did you do well in your job? Because these are my qualities, blah, blah, blah. And they recognize me for this and this. Don't be shy. You're not, even if you don't say it out loud, say it to yourself. Kung paano ka ba nakaabot doon. Because those are the qualities that brought you to where you are. Even if you don't think those achievements are great, they're always things that you didn't have before. Di ba sabi nga nila, don't compete with others, only compete with yourself. If you are a better person right now, or what you have now you didn't have before, you have already achieved so much. So stop looking at other people and what they have, di ba? Sabi nga nila, comparison is the thief of joy, because
True.
in us we already achieve things on our own, and the downside to that, because since we always focus also on the challenges and the failures, I think the biggest like uh, stimulus for growth and learning about ourselves are during the hardest times and the biggest tragedies, right? Because
Yes.
ang dami nating natututunan about ourselves and uh, what we want to change in our life, in the people around us, in our surroundings. Something also that you think about what you learned and how you grew based on those challenges. So it's a matter of just celebrating yourself, good times and bad times. 'Di
Yes.
ba? And parang removing the bitterness na parang hindi ganyan lang ako, parating masama yung nangyayari sa akin and ganyan ganyan. Like think about how much better you are as a person because of all those things that happened and what
Yes.
role you played, right?
Sobrang interesting, no? Tsaka, ngayon ko lang narinig yun eh, like, sa nga job, yung soft skills, di
Mm-hmm.
ba? Parang, I didn't think of that before. Parang isip ko, gosh, I'm not a chemist, I'm not a programmer, I'm not, na parang I
Mm-hmm.
wanna be super smart and
Mm-hmm.
be like that. Pero, you really think about it, you have so much soft skills that you can share, which is very, very important um,
Right?
in job. Yeah, di ba? It's not just knowing what to do, but you have to work in a team. You have to work
Mm-hmm.
in an environment. It's so many to think about, diba?
I think that's also something that sets people apart because you see it sometimes in a team or like kunyari meron kang peers, sometimes in the same job. Sino ba yung nare-recognize at umaangat? it's not the ones that are really
Quiet.
quiet about their skills and parang are afraid to like say what they know
Share.
or whatever. Yun yung mga umaangat, umaasenso. They're the ones who actually are just like, I want to volunteer for that. I want to learn about that. I might not be good in the beginning, but I want to learn and whatever. Sila yung lalong nakikita na recognize kasi na, oh, this person has a capacity to do more than what is assigned to them. You know,
Yes, yung
so,
bibo.
right? Right. And
Oo.
unfortunately, that is the unfair disadvantage
Yes,
also
for
of
the shy.
becoming an introvert. And I recognize that so much because I'm introverted and I'm shy and I'm afraid of being the center of attention. But I have to balance that and fight through that. And even though I more often than not maintain my introversion, I also recognize the how I need to get out of my comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah, that's so
Right?
important. They will not know, really. Exact. They
Right?
won't, 'di ba? Na parang, okay, maybe they think you're okay na with that eh. Tapos in your head, shucks, gusto ko gawin yon. I know
Mhm.
I can do better than that person. But if you're just thinking about it and not doing it or verbalizing or doing
Mhm.
something about it, your boss might think you're okay na with what you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
'Di ba?
Right?
So, very important that you sell yourself. Self-promote nga, 'di ba?
And it doesn't have to be blatant hard sell. Right?
Yes.
Even in social media kasi sometimes you want to promote your own business or your skill or your service that you want to offer. Pansin mo kasi kaagad kung hard sell eh, na puro
Mm.
sales talk, right? So you
Yes.
can just make it as part of like conversation or actually storytelling. Leah always says people love stories. So if you just tell a story of some like experience that you had and what you learned and whatever, people relate to it and then they recognize your value as opposed to saying it out loud because walang concrete example, you know. So
Mm.
makikita mo naman yung the account social media accounts that become popular even if they're offering a service. It's not because they're selling the service actually, but they're showcasing what they have to offer in just a regular post or a
Mm.
story that they're telling. It's a very
Yes.
interesting strategy na that actually gives more authenticity to what you have to offer,
I
you
think
know.
they're touching the emotions. Mga gano'n, 'di ba, mga the
Mhm.
posts. It's really touching your emotions na talaga.
I
Alright,
understand really this
interesting.
is hard because of imposter syndrome and it's so
It's
innate
another
in us na
topic.
second guessing. Yeah, this is another topic, but really that's our biggest enemy.
Yes, but if you really know yourself, right, and you take note of what you're doing, and of course, you have to know your goals, 'di ba? What do you want to do naman, you know,
Mm-hmm.
after? What are your
Uh,
plans? Do you want to go up the ladder or do you want to do
mm-hmm.
something
Mm-hmm.
else, 'di ba? So once you know that, it's easier for you to know what you need to do for self-promotion.
Right. And also, I think we're afraid of rejection, right? Kaya we don't want to put ourselves out there and stick our neck out. And that's why it's so important to know your value and know your good qualities and admire yourself and understand that, you know, people will see it. And you know, when you interact, some people will get you, but really some people will never get you. And some
Yes.
people actually will dislike you, and that's something that you just need to be comfortable with, that you're not everyone's cup of tea. Natatakot kasi tayo sa ganyan eh, that there's like one person na magdi-disagree or mambabash, especially because of social media, right? But if you're very confident in what you have and what you have to offer, and also the people who you help along the way, then you learn to parang drown out the unproductive comments and people who don't understand like don't you don't have to convince them of your worth because you're already convinced of your own worth. right?
Exactly. And then of course when you go for a job interview, or if you apply for a new job, you
Mhm.
really have to put it there. You have to write it down. You have to fix your resume. You have to do the work. You can't
Mhm.
just say studied here, blah blah blah. I work here. Yun
Or
lang.
ayun,
You
or
cannot.
assuming na alam na nila yon.
Thank you.
Alam na
Exactly.
nila yun na parang ilagay mo accountant or something, na parang alam na nila yun. Like, no, because there are a million accountants who are competing with you. What makes you so
I know.
special? It's something that it's just scary. But and I feel like so many of us, probably most of us actually, there are opportunities that have passed us by because we wanted to stay quiet and humble, and we're afraid of taking that risk. But
Mhm.
the thing with that is you regret it kasi. You always wonder, what if I just presented myself? It would have been a moment of, discomfort, but what if that I got something because I wasn't afraid, or I wasn't like bogged down by my own insecurity and imposter syndrome and negative self-talk? What were the limits that you could have reached? Diba? I had a nice, interesting quote also that I came across is from P.T. Barnum, from Barnum and Bailey's Circus, the greatest show on earth.
Cool.
He said, without promotion, something terrible is going to happen. Nothing. So I thought that was funny because
True.
if you want, it's very easy to go through life with nothing ever happening to you. But that could be a terrible thing too. And it's not, and it's not career. It's not even like, it's not just in your work or even personal life. Kahit na simpleng dating, right? So many of us believe that somehow, some way, we are going to be discovered inside our room by the special person without, you know, raising your hand and being known. Or, it doesn't have to be na you're selling yourself as a potential mate, but just interacting with other people will recognize your traits. And how many of us actually met partners because you talked to somebody and then they said, oh, you know what, I think I know
Yeah.
someone who would get along with you. Ganun yun, di ba?
Yes.
It's not necessarily na binebentahan mo yung potential mate mo. You're having a conversation with someone else and then they recognize a good trait in you. Then advertise nila yon, or parang, oh, you know what? Parang parang bagay kayo, ganon, right?
Exactly. So it's very important talaga yung self-promotion, 'di ba?
Right?
It's you first of all, 'di ba? Na parang you have to have that confidence eh. You will
Mm-hmm.
not know kasi a lot of things if you don't put yourself out there eh.
Mm-hmm.
Yun nga yung mga what ifs, 'di ba? You don't want to have that. Especially when you're getting older and you're exploring the world, and then or you're in this job and then you learn a new skill and you realize, shucks, ito ata yung gusto ko. Because you're navigating pa eh, 'di ba? You still don't know
Mm-hmm.
what you want, but you know you
Mm-hmm.
want to have that special skill. 'Di ba? When we were like high school, I don't know. What do you want when you grow up? We know when we were like 8 years old. Tapos pagdating ng high school, anong course kukunin mo sa college? Actually hindi ko nga alam eh, 'di ba? And then
Mm-hmm.
you're still navigating, and but inside you want to know exactly what you want to do
Mm-hmm.
in your life. 'Di ba? You're always searching for that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you're learning a lot of skills, I always tell that to my kids, put it in your confidence bank. So when
Mm-hmm.
we're playing baseball, or if they do something, if I say good job, put that in your confidence bank,
Mm-hmm.
because you will need that when
Mm-hmm.
you go
Mm-hmm.
through a tough game, 'di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So yun, put it in your confidence bank, and then you will discover what you want, and you need to help yourself, because people again won't know
Mm-hmm.
what they're not mind readers.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the only person in the world. There's so much people they can see. They cannot just observe one person and see, ito pala yung ginagawa ni Lia. Ay, oo nga, ito pala. They won't know talaga. They will just
Mhm,
know it like maybe, oh, nice job, tapos, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Because everybody's doing their own thing as
Mhm.
well. But you have to stand out, and promoting yourself is not bad, especially if you have something to share.
Yeah.
Diba? I'm
And
sure Jesus Christ will be so happy if you're promoting yourself because they gave you that skill. You were blessed with that. Diba? Diba? He said na he'll help those who help themselves. So,
you know, I know I'm not terribly religious, but if you think about Jesus Christ, he didn't perform his miracles in private in
ye-
his room.
oh, yes,
There's an
exactly.
audience. There's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, So
True.
and there's a self-promotion of I'm sharing my knowledge to my disciples, right? It was a very
Exactly.
social thing. It wasn't like, okay, come find me. That's already the son of God, okay? Pinopromote pa rin niya yung sarili niya. Meanwhile, he
Exactly.
actually could have been found. But
Exactly. Expresses himself. Exactly. You won't know, diba? That's true. Well,
yeah, sharing knowledge is really what it is. And if you come from a place of knowing yourself and really just sharing what you know with others, then you can't really go wrong. The problem is sometimes people say, I want the attention to fall on me, I want to be known, pero wala naman pala silang ma-offer. I'm finding this now, talking to a lot of like older managers and older employees, that sometimes they find na younger people mahilig mag self-promote, parang magaling daw sa parang flowery language of how they're good and also what they can do, pero push comes to shove hindi pala alam yung dapat gawin. So, be able to substantiate your claims naman.
Of
You can,
course.
pero like a little bit of parang exaggeration. It's okay kasi you're going to aspire to that, but don't make something out of nothing. Right? Kasi
True.
you can't catch up. You can't catch up, right? So,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, any final ideas from you, Leah?
Final ideas, I think you really need to write it down. Sometimes you don't diba, if you have a new skill, write it down right away. Kasi nga, sometimes you will, after 5 years, oh, I have to change pala my resume. You should have done that already,
Mhm.
building your resume all the time.
Mhm.
Kasi you'll never know if you want this, you come up, a chance upon a posting na, ay, gusto ko to ah. And then sometimes you have to build it and then yung pala, tomorrow end na yung posting. Or something like that, di ba? Yung
Yeah.
nakakainis you have to update your resume all the time.
Mhm.
And just, I like what you said, celebrate the things you
Celebrate your
have.
achievements,
Yes,
I
embrace yourself.
meron
Yeah.
akong padagdag dun na actually career tip or job tip that I don't even think I learned it from anyone. I just thought that I need to do this for myself. So in the course of your job, right? 'Di ba pagka time na ng annual review, ang hirap mag-isip ng achievements mo. Kasi 'di ba
Yes.
parang ang yabang mo, you're making something out of nothing. But actually, just keep a file in your computer of achievements or tasks or things that you're proud of and things that compliments that you receive, and then itatype mo lang dun, as you go along, month by month, kung may nangyari ba, oh, I was able to put all of this together in a short amount of time. I was assigned to help with this project that wasn't familiar to me, but I learned the skills necessary and whatever whatever, yung mga stuff na gano'n na parang akala mo meaningful because it's just your day-to-day duties. Write them all down, and also the things that you learned in, like, just articulate them and put them into words na parang, oh, I used my skill in this and this to achieve this task. Iko-compile mo yan pag annual review na parang write about yourself, your achievements, that you can put that there. And also in your resume, you can tap into all those achievements and targets and goals that you've met, and you can add them when you're looking for your next role. It's not so hard kasi ang hirap mag-isip na pagka when it's time to write. Kasi hindi mo na naaalala the targets
Good.
that you've met. So just take those notes. I think is very helpful. But
Yes.
right?
And one more pala tip din, practice. So if you're going to go to a job
Mm.
interview, you really have to read your resume and
Yeah.
then practice and practice possible questions
Yeah. Actually,
and be
meron
proud of
kaming
it.
mga friends and relatives na ganyan na mga tinutulungan ko sa resume. Um, they'll actually reach out to me and say, "Hey, can we practice an interview?" And then we'll go to the resume and then ang dami kong itatanong sa kanya ng mga mahirap na mga tanong or whatever. How about this? How about this? And then parang just to practice your confidence in answering. And even if you don't know, just the cadence of it and just appearing confident, that's something that it really sells. Unfortunately, the interview process and the application process, it doesn't really always reflect the kind of person or employee you're going to be. There's so many great workers who do not interview well and do not look good on paper. Unfortunately, the process is still very dependent on resumes and job interviews. So if even if we have to fake those skills in order for them to see the kind of employee that we are, unfortunately, we need to do that. But
So
final
practice.
thing for me, final thought
Yes.
from me
For you.
is I think we're our biggest ally. Sometimes we're our only ally.
Yes.
Right? Pagbubuhat ba yun ng sariling bangko? Is that tooting our own horn? But you know what? I see that as self-reliance and independence because you're not waiting for someone to find value in you. You found value in yourself and you're not afraid of letting people know that value. So, take record of your life, your achievements, even the hardships, because just for your own sake,
Yes.
um to remember those things. And also when you actually have conversations about it with other people, then they will also remember you. Diba? I think you mentioned something before about a movie that you watched that, what happens when you have a mate or a partner. Parang they're the chronicler of your life. They're the witness of your
Yes.
every trials and challenges and achievements. And you can be that for yourself. Because
Yes.
sometimes it's just so easy to forget the good things, right? Because it's so easy to just focus on the bad things. But if you really know yourself and you know how valuable you are, put yourself out there, talk to people, and share your gifts. Keep the mindset that you're there to help instead of you're there to to grandstand or anything. You're there, you are sharing something important that they need.
Yes. And each of us are unique. So you have something to share. Believe in
That's
that.
right.
Yes.
Ah,
Wow. I like this
ayun.
episode. So cool.
Right? It's so
Very
so
interesting.
positive and
Yeah,
so
sometimes you don't.
uplifting.
Yes. Kasi sometimes you don't think about it eh. You really will have that midlife crisis,
Yeah.
quarter life crisis. But actually, if you look back and if you write it down, you journal, whatever, you will know na parang, okay, I'm okay pala. 'Di ba?
Right? And
Small steps.
always going back to our mission to be the people that we needed growing up. How I wish that I would have talked to somebody older who would tell me,
There.
yes, it's normal to be insecure. Yes, it's normal to focus on the negative things. And also, it's fine to recognize your worth, to put yourself out there and be confident, and just someone who would share their experiences, right, with us. Then it's not such a parang, these are things that we discovered on our own, di ba?
Yes.
Wala naman tayo na parang
Yeah.
nag-handhold
Wala.
sa atin. We had to
Walang podcast
actually, di
dati.
ba? We had to decide for ourselves that I'm going to change my path. No one else, there was not something that I could search before na parang how to be more this and that. We had to learn it
Yes,
on
that's
our
true.
own. So, one day you can also be that for other people.
True. Share. So
right?
this has been another episode of Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Thanks so much for joining us again today. We are really enjoying sharing all of our ideas with you, and we appreciate that you're always there episode after episode. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much. Till our next episode.
Bye!
Bye.
Thanks for letting us spice up your day.
Keep on listening to Salt and Pepe Podcast.
Konting alat
Konting anghang.
and Pepe all around.
This has been Lia.
And Shakira.
See you next time.